Is the U.S. trying to become some kind of technocratic Nazi Germany? You guys remember how that Germany story ended, right?
It's a heavy question to start with. I mean, maybe the heaviest we've ever asked on this show.
Right.
But then you look at the documents we have today, confidential memos, leaked Slack messages from inside Palantir, some really deep reporting, and you realize this isn't hyperbole anymore.
Welcome back to the Swetlana AI Podcast. If you're here, you're trying to find the signal in all the noise. And today, well, the signal is screaming.
It really is.
It's Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. And the world feels different, even from just 6 months ago. Before we get into it, do us a quick favor, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us keep the servers running, which, given today's topic, feels more important than ever.
It absolutely does, because what we're talking about today, it isn't just another tech story. It's a fundamental shift in how the government sees its own people.
So let's set the scene. We're looking at a stack of reports here, mainly from the New York Times, Wired, and the EFF. And the picture they're painting is, frankly, terrifying.
We're talking about this massive expansion of ICE immigration and customs enforcement, and how they've basically merged with the data giant Palantir.
And it's not just a budget increase, although that's the fuel for the fire. President Trump signed a bill last July that pushed ICE's annual budget to around $28 billion.
$28 billion.
To put that in perspective, that makes them the most richly funded law enforcement agency in the entire federal government. But that money isn't just for, more agents at the border, it's for a systemic shift.
Right, and that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack this idea of data fusion and how it turns normal policing into something else, into automated mass suspicion.
And through all this, we're going to make two, I think, very specific arguments. One, Palantir needs a whistleblower.
Badly.
And two, we as a society need a real reward system for whistleblowers. Because without that internal emergency brake, this machine, it just doesn't stop. Okay, let's get into it. Because I think for a lot of people, words like surveillance or data fusion, they feel so abstract. It's something that happens to bad guys in movies.
Right.
But I want to start with a story from the New York Times that makes this very, very real. We need to talk about Nicole Cleland.
This is the view from Minneapolis, which has really become ground zero for this whole tech rollout.
So Nicole is a U.S. citizen. She lives in Richfield, Minnesota. She's a volunteer with a local watchdog group. Basically, they just observe immigration officers to make sure everything's above board.
A totally legal, constitutionally protected activity.
Completely. So January 10th, just last month, she's driving her car and she's trailing an IC agent. But then the agent starts turning down all these one-way streets, almost like he's trying to corner her.
He is.
And finally he does. He stops his big white Dodge Ram, gets out, and walks over to her car.
And picture this. She's in her vehicle, the windows are up, he's never met her, she's never met him.
Exactly. And he walks up to the window, looks right at her, and just says, "Hello, Nicole."
That's the moment. Right there. The chill just goes right down your spine.
Wait, pause there. Unless he ran her license plate super fast.
That's what you'd think, right? The old way of policing. You run a plate, you get a name, it takes time. But the agent tells her, point blank, "I have facial recognition and my body camera is on."
He didn't need the plates.
No.
He just needed her face through the windshield.
Exactly. He scanned her face, and the system gave him her name.
Yeah.
Instantly. This isn't investigating a crime. This is a citizen engaging in dissent, and the state has her ID'd before he even opens his truck door.
That is, wow. It's cyberpunk. But it's happening right now in Minnesota, and the story doesn't end there, right? It wasn't just the spooky conversation.
No, it wasn't. 3 days later, Nicole gets an email. Her global entry and her TSA pre-check statuses revoked. No explanation. No hearing. Just gone.
Which just proves that this surveillance net isn't just for undocumented immigrants anymore. It's targeting citizens. It's targeting dissent. But let's dig into the how, because facial recognition is a big term. What are they actually using?
Okay, so the reporting points to two main tools in their tech stack. First, there's an app called Mobile Fortify.
Mobile Fortify sounds like a video game.
It kind of does. It's an app originally designed for Border Patrol to process people at a border crossing, but now it's on the smartphones of agents operating inside American cities.
So they can just, snap a picture of a crowd?
A crowd, a driver, anyone. And it matches them against government databases in real time. So yeah, every agent basically has a biometric scanner in their pocket.
Okay. And the second tool?
The second layer is Clearview AI.
Ah, I've heard of them. They're the ones who scraped billions of photos from Facebook, Instagram, all over the internet.
That's them. Now, Clearview has always had this PR shield up, saying their tool is only for, child exploitation cases or serious cyber crimes.
But that's not how it's being used.
Not according to the DHS documents. They show it's being used to investigate attacks on law enforcement.
Which sounds reasonable on paper. Nobody wants police getting hurt. But in practice...
In practice, that phrase, attacks on law enforcement, can be stretched to mean almost anything. If you're at a protest and you're shouting, if you're interfering with an arrest just by filming it, is that an attack?
And if the algorithm decides it is, you get flagged.
And there's the feedback loop. You protest government overreach, and you get flagged by the very tools designed to protect the government. And then suddenly you lose your travel privileges.
It's a soft punishment, an administrative one, delivered by an algorithm. You don't get a day in court. You just get deleted.
Exactly. You just get managed.
Okay, so the agent on the street is the tip of the spear. But what's the brain behind all this? Because all this data doesn't just magically organize itself on an agent's phone.
And that brings us to the core of it all, Palantir. This is where we have to talk about data fusion and a system that the EF and Wired have been digging into called ELITE.
ELITE, Enhanced Leads Identification and Targeting for Enforcement.
Of course. Think of it like a giant magnet. Before Palantir, an agency like ICE had data, but it was all in different buckets. A driver's license here, a tax return over there.
The old detective work. Pins on a corkboard.
Right. You had to physically look for the connections. ELITE doesn't just read the data, it fuses it. It pulls everything together into one coherent story. A digital you.
And the sources for this data, this is the crazy part. It's not just criminal records, right?
No, this is the part that is shocking people. ELITE is feeding on HHS and Medicaid data.
Wait, hold on. Medicaid data, as in low-income healthcare records?
Yes. Health and Human Services data. The government is taking information people provide to get essential medical care, sensitive private health information, and feeding it into a law enforcement targeting engine.
I mean, isn't that illegal? What about HIPAA? That feels like a complete betrayal of the doctor-patient relationship.
It shatters the firewall between social services and policing. And the output from ELITE isn't just, here's a person's address. It generates a confidence score on where a target sleeps at night.
A confidence score?
It's predictive modeling. It'll say, we are 90% sure this person will be at this address at 3 a.m. based on their utility bills, phone location, and their kids' doctor's appointments.
That's the pre-crime logic. It's not investigating a crime that happened. It's optimizing the raid before it even starts.
Correct. And a pilot program mentioned in the Wired report takes it even further. USCIS, the Citizenship and Immigration Service, is working with Palantir to identify fraudulent benefit submissions.
Which just sounds like boring bureaucracy. We're catching fraud.
But what it means, in plain English, is they're cross-referencing your application for food stamps with your driving patterns to build a deportation dossier. The very act of asking for help hands them a map to your front door.
And it's not just government data. The Times also highlighted this tech arsenal ICE is buying. They named two companies, Paragon and Penlink.
Right, these are the tools that fill in the gaps. Paragon is an Israeli company. Their software allows ICE to remotely hack smartphones.
Remotely, so they don't even need to physically have the phone.
No. Over the air. They can read encrypted messages from WhatsApp or Signal, track your location, turn on your mic. And then Penlink scrapes social media. It builds a profile on anyone with an account, which is, everyone listening.
So let's put it all together. The agent on the street have your face. Palantir has your health records and knows where you sleep. Paragon has your text messages. It's a total panopticon.
And unlike traditional policing, which needs a warrant, this is just automated mass suspicion running 24/7. They are vacuuming up the entire haystack to find the needle, but they're recording and analyzing every single piece of hay in the process.
Now, you'd think someone inside these companies would be raising a hand and saying, hey, maybe this is a bad idea. I mean, these are Silicon Valley tech workers.
And you're right. And that brings us to the hobbits.
Laughs. I still can't believe they call themselves that.
It's Palantir's internal nickname for employees. Small, nimble, saving the world,
Yeah.
But right now, the hobbits are revolting.
This was triggered by that awful story out of Minneapolis, right? The killing of the nurse, Alex Pretty, by federal agents.
Exactly. After that happened, according to Wired, the internal Slack channels at Palantir just exploded. Employees were asking the hard questions. Are we helping round up asylum seekers with no criminal record? Is our code what sent those agents to that house?
So how did leadership respond?
Palantir CEO Alex Karp sent out a nearly hour-long video to the whole company. And instead of answering the direct question, how are our tools being used, he just went off in this long philosophical tangent about Western power and hard power.
What's the argument there? I mean, what is he actually saying?
Well, to be fair to his argument, it's a seductive one. He's essentially saying, look, the world is a dangerous place. Our adversaries, China and Russia, they aren't wringing their hands about privacy.
Right.
They're building massive surveillance states. And if the West wants to survive, we need technological superiority. He frames Palantir as a digital shield of democracy.
I get the logic. I do. But there is a huge leap from defending against foreign threats to tracking a nurse in Minnesota because she went to a protest.
And that's exactly where the internal revolt is. The hobbits signed up to fight terrorists, not to help deport their neighbors. But here's the kicker, the part that reveals everything. Leadership told the concerned employees that if they wanted specific details on the ICE contract, they had to sign an NDA first.
An NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. They already work there.
Exactly. Think about how absurd that is. To find out how the tool you are building is being used by your biggest client, you have to sign a legal gag order.
It's a trap. It silences dissent before it can even start, because you can't blow the whistle if you've already signed away your right to speak.
Karp even said in the video something like, there is no history of Palantir where we're 100% popular. He wears it like a badge of honor. He's doing the hard work others are too squeamish to do.
Which brings us right back to our thesis. Palantir needs a whistleblower. Someone has to tell us what's in those contracts that's so secret they need an internal NDA.
If you look at history, this is how we find these things out. Edward Snowden. Chelsea Manning. Reality winner.
But look what happened to them. Prison, exile. They ruined their lives. It's not exactly a great recruitment pitch for the next person with a conscience.
And that's the core problem. Our current system relies on martyrdom. It relies on someone being so morally horrified that they're willing to destroy their own future just to let us know that Medicaid data is being used for raids. That's not a sustainable model for a democracy.
So we need a reward system, a safety valve.
We do. If these tools are being used to get around the Constitution, like revoking Nicole Cleland's travel rights without due process, there has to be a protected way for insiders to sound the alarm, a way that doesn't end with them in a federal prison.
Because right now, all the incentives are wrong. Stay quiet, you keep your six-figure tech job. Speak up, you go to jail.
And while we wait for a hero, this infrastructure just keeps growing. And I want to ask the listener, why should this matter to you?
Yeah, let's do that. Because someone listening might be thinking, look, I'm a citizen, I pay my taxes, I'm not an immigrant. Why should I care about ICE's supercomputer?
You should care because of the slippery slope of infrastructure. Once you build a $28 billion machine that can map the connections between your health records, your location, and your social media, that machine doesn't just go away. It creates a permanent government data profile on everyone.
It's like the Patriot Act after 9/11. The tools were meant for terrorists, then they were used for drug dealers, then for financial fraud, and now for a volunteer watchdog in Minnesota.
Exactly. The boundaries just keep getting erased. You normalize the idea that your doctor is a potential informant. You normalize algorithmic raids where math, not probable cause, dictates who gets that knock on the door at 3 a.m.
And math can be biased. Math can be wrong. But good luck arguing with an algorithm when there are agents at your door.
Because the definition of suspicious can change overnight. Today, it's undocumented immigrants. Tomorrow, maybe it's people who own crypto, or people who went to a certain protest, or donated to the wrong political party.
The infrastructure itself is the trap. You build the weapon, and eventually someone will find a new target to aim it at.
That's the technocratic part of that Nazi Germany comparison you made at the beginning. The danger isn't just the ideology of the people in charge. It's the cold, brutal efficiency of the technology. It makes resistance almost impossible because the state can see everything before it even happens.
It's a terrifying thought. We're watching this convergence of big tech and state power that just treats people, all of us, as data points to be managed or removed.
It creates a world where you are assumed guilty until the algorithm says you're not. And as we saw with Nicole Cleland, sometimes you don't even get a chance to prove you're innocent. You just lose your rights.
So where does that leave us? The technology is here, the budget is here, the political will is here. The only thing missing is transparency.
And that transparency isn't going to come from the top. Alex Kurtz made that perfectly clear. It has to come from the inside. Or it has to come from us, the public, demanding it.
I want to leave you with one final thought today. We've talked about all this high-tech stuff, but think about it like this. If your healthcare data and your driving history can be used to assign you a confidence score for a government raid, do you actually have a right to privacy? Or do you just have temporary permission to hide, which can be revoked the moment an algorithm decides you're interesting?
That is the question of our time.
We're going to keep tracking this story, and if any of those hobbits are listening, we're here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Swetlana AI Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.
Stay safe out there.